I've unmuted us. I think we're live. It's just a night of winging it, I think. Do you want to do the intro? Do you want me to do the intro? We didn't
Can you
do
do the
this.
intro tonight?
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay.
Okay. Good evening. This is H&N. The Holotable News Network is your not even remotely close to around the clock Star Wars, Galaxy of Heroes news, reactions, reviews, theory crafting, and more source. I am
Do you want to do the
Celiac
intro? Do you want
Sarah,
me to do the intro?
one of
What?
your hosts, and as usual, I am joined by my co-host Pico Burrito. Pico, how are you?
Really confused because I was hearing you on a loop because I'm not in the home studio. So I was having audio coming from all over the place. So good times all around. So
You are traveling and somehow made recording work.
yes, I am coming from again. I am not a paid spokesperson for Hilton or Hilton Properties, but I am staying at a wonderful Embassy Suites on North State Street in downtown Chicago. And I say this because there's this awesome Italian restaurant in the first floor of here
Mhm.
that has great takeout. I cannot tell you the name because it's three Italian words and I don't attempt to pronounce them. This is where I always stay, and it's normally great. But this has turned out to be like the Chicago vacationing hotel as well. So it's me and 700 families and their children like downstairs for breakfast every morning.
Oh,
It's it's a little chaotic right now.
that's,
We'll say.
that's a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Normally it's me and like four grumpy, business travelers, and this was just like, pancakes being thrown across the
Oh.
eatery area. So, but Embassy Suites is awesome. If they want to sponsor us, y'all know how to get a hold of us. Jump in. So, yeah.
Perfect. Okay, but I mean, I guess we recorded right when the road ahead dropped. Right when the new raid
Correct.
dropped. We hadn't tried it yet because we were doing speeder bike.
Yep.
Um but like not a lot has happened since then, even though
No.
we're a week behind, but it's fine.
Th- Was there a puzzle? Did we get a puzzle?
It was before the road ahead.
Okay.
We haven't had one since, I don't believe.
So we didn't get a puzzle for Morgan.
I don't think so. If we
All right.
did, let me tell you, it's that memorable because I'm just like, don't think we did. We
They just
got
jumbled up the letters in her name and then was like, all right, solve it.
we got one for like Night Trooper and Ahsoka, like that kind of a thing. I don't remember
Yep.
there being one for Morgan. I don't think we did. I think they were just like, hey, she's coming.
Get used to it, get there, make it happen. So
Yeah, here she is. Here's her kit.
yeah.
Um, yeah, because that's really all that's happened is Morgan's dropped. Oh, Vaughn is correcting me. There was one for Morgan. It was small and meh, he
Yeah.
says.
Okay. Okay.
Man. Okay.
Uh,
Well, maybe I guess there will probably be more because they seem to be teasing that we would be getting puzzle type things for the requirements.
well, but considering the road ahead was nothing more than just a list of characters, I mean, is there really going to be any surprises? Yeah.
Can you call it a road ahead?
How'd you solve the puzzle? I guess one of the seven names that they gave us.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly. I went down this bullet point list you provided. Oh man. It's fine. But that's it. And then
Yeah.
all right. So we have patch notes. We've got Morgan Kit, which believe it or not, I still haven't read. Um,
I, I have not either. So I unlocked her to 7 stars today, and I literally have not read a word about her kit.
yeah, I've not read a word about her kit either. So that'll be fun. Um,
Yeah.
and then the PC client.
Yeah, which we actually have some interesting news about that from what San Holo shared with you and I in a DM around how
Mm-hmm.
he's getting around this limitation for Macs, and some pretty exciting news about that coming up for users of Apple products in later this year. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay, so where do we want to start? Patch notes? Because that sounds enthralling,
yeah, patch notes are always great.
right? Um, okay, so obviously PC client,
Yep.
Pretty straightforward. Master Qui-Gon went farmable, also on Cantina. So both the Lover Boys went to Cantina, which is, I mean, if that doesn't tell you they want you to get them real quick, then I don't know what does.
And they're low energy nodes, correct?
Yeah, they're stupid cheap. I
Okay.
think they're both 10 energy.
Okay.
Um, I know for sure Qui-Gon is Obi-Wan might be an 8, but I'm pretty sure it's a 10 as well. Yeah, it was insanely fast to finish their farms.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
and I mean, even if you are close to finishing them, the assault battle came back around today, so you can
Yeah.
get some. Depending which one you need, you might get lucky and pull the shards.
I think I saw a couple of people today that pulled enough of them, but then it was like, oh, great, where do I get all the relic material to get this done so I can
Yeah,
actually get the last pieces of the event taken care of? So,
yeah. Professor X did not get lucky, and he pulled Obi-Wan. We needed Qui-Gon.
of course, that's the way that, look, for everyone who gets 17 of the one that they want, someone else has to pay for it by getting
Yeah,
17 one that they didn't. So that's the trade-off.
Professor X is paying. um, but there were a ton of bug fixes, a ton of stuff with like Night Troopers kit.
Yep.
I don't know if there was anything that seemed crazy obvious in terms of being like, thank God they
I
fixed
love they're
that.
still fixing bugs in the pit and tank takedown.
I know those starter
That
guilds that
that's
the
just
game like throws you into right
yeah,
away. Yeah, it's straightforward, nothing
it's
crazy.
straightforward. I don't think there's really anything in here.
I don't think so. The Datacrons, I know people have mentioned this, so the Datacrons are still, quote unquote broken, where it doesn't matter if you roll a level 3 dark side or light side, your level 9 can be dark side or light. It can be the
yeah,
opposite, which
uh,
is confusing.
I think so. I know on our last episode, I talked about how I was excited for this new model of Datacrons.
Yeah. Have you changed your tune?
I hate them.
I hate them too. Okay, I'm so glad I'm not the only one.
Um, Two options for level 9
Hmm.
is terrible.
Yeah. It
It's terrible.
it's and like there's so many level 9s.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just not good. It's not
I,
good.
I have normally I try to build Datacrons.
Hmm.
I just rolled a bunch and I'm going to play with what I have.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, me too.
I just you got this close. You almost got there. Like this almost was great with this introduction of the way they did the level 6s, but I'm just so disappointed with how because the logical way to build level 9s are you roll it up to 9 to limit your choices
Yes.
on the other levels, and that doesn't work anymore because now you're like, oh, I need 80 Mark III reroll materials because I can't seem to get a Sabine
Right.
or whatever it is you're trying to roll.
Yeah, it's so insane. And I just find also that I really liked the idea of having it be the type of character, like the tag of the character for the level 6 instead of the faction. But now I just am not liking it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I'm just not. I think there's just too many options.
Yes, there are.
Yeah. It's like there's such a thing as too much, and it's just too much. I
Yeah.
think if they had scaled it back just even like a tiny bit, like even like 20% scaled back, like that would be better.
Yeah. And it's not like there's too many choices. Like there are 12 different kinds of cookies
Right.
in front of you, or 14 different type of cold cut sandwiches. Those are too many choices, and it's awesome. This
Right.
is
And they're all good choices.
yeah. This is we have 12 piles of turds, but you have to eat one.
Yeah.
Like that, it's that level of choice. Like, can I just not choose?
Yeah. So whatever. It's fine. I hope they change it, but we'll see. Um, okay, so that's the patch notes. Let's talk about the PCE client,
Yep.
and then we'll do more against Kit.
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay. So the PC client, even though PC stands for personal computer, not Windows, EA, just would like you to know that. It only works on Windows currently. So people like me who use a Mac are SOL.
By the way, I'm now finding out that my hotel room automatically turns lights off on me. So you keep
I
talking.
was like, what happened? Where did we go here? Um, that's fine. We're just gonna relight your background. There you are. Um, yeah, so it's only on Windows, and it's available to everyone if you have the EA app, if you have Windows, and if you don't, then I guess tough shit.
Do you know what also really only runs on Windows?
What's that?
CrowdStrike software.
Yeah, yeah.
Look, you could say that there's a parallel between EA releasing the PC client of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes and a global PC outage that took down, most of the airlines for a couple of weeks or for a couple, for a few days.
Yeah.
Uh, you know,
Hospitals,
it's possible. So,
stock
uh,
market.
a lot of fun things. A lot of fun
It
things.
made my Friday at work real fun.
Yeah. So we were traveling this weekend. We were not impacted because we were on Southwest, and the running joke with Southwest is legitimately their software is so old and out of date they actually can't run the CrowdStrike software.
That is amazing.
Yes.
I was worried that when I went to work, I was like, it's either gonna be really dead because we can't do anything, or
Yeah.
it's gonna be really chaos because everything is burning. And it was the latter. So clearly our software at work is also really old and can't be updated.
So real quick, because you said ladder, can I play the I was way too far into my 40s
Mhm.
to finally learn the trick to understanding former and ladder?
There's a trick?
There is.
Oh, okay.
So former, latter, first, last. I never knew that before.
This sounds like something that I should know because I just make things up like this I use
Yeah,
mnemonic devices all the time. Um, and like to the point that I implement them when I'm training people, and
yeah,
they make absolutely no sense except to me, and people are like, there's no sense to it because the rule of thumb that I will apply in one situation I don't apply it in another one. I'm like, no, that's only for this specific
yeah, yeah.
situation. Yeah, so anyway.
I digress. I'm sorry.
No, you're
Uh,
good. But like okay, so you were mentioning earlier, San Holo and you and I have like a nice little group chat, and
yes,
he has a workaround of sorts for the Mac
coming,
coming.
coming. So Sen is three of us are all Mac users and Mac owners, although I have a PC as well. Uh, there is a client for EA that's available for the Mac, but they have not released the game, and I don't think there's any commitment from EA to release the game there. But in the coming release of OS X
Mhm.
later this year, they will be building in the ability to mirror an Apple mobile device onto an Apple endpoint, so laptop, iMac, whatever that is. Um, so what he's doing today to run it is he essentially mirrors his phone or his iPad onto his Mac, and then he can actually play just the same way with PC client,
Mhm.
mouse clicks, the whole nine yards. So he can take advantage of it. The only gap, and this does bother me for CG, um, they are still giving free daily logins to
Yeah.
PC users. I will tell you that while that's a great offer,
Mhm.
uh, it's not enough for me to literally turn around in my chair, grab another keyboard, and start the game up to get those every day.
Yeah. It bothers me.
Oh, I get, yeah, absolutely.
Like I want that and I can't have it.
Uh, the, I, I appreciate it's in early access. They'll get more feedback. I spent way too long today talking with a customer about development processes and all these things, and I I'm aware of how difficult these things are.
Hmm.
Uh, there are, as far as I'm concerned, there are some major gaps with the game, running in that, and the largest being, you either run it in full screen, and
Yeah.
if you click off the app, it minimizes.
Oh,
So you can't run a multi-monitor setup.
that's bad for streamers.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Or you run it in Windows mode, but in Windows mode, you get like the pre-built scaling options that they want you to have. So it like you get this just really weird, like offset, view of the screen. Like I can't just blow it up into I can't put it into Windows mode and just maximize it to
Yeah.
fill the screen, or I can't drag the size to whatever I want. Um, and that's just it's frustrating. I think.
Hmm.
Hopefully they address that. I was trying to run the raid on the PC client, and I was trying to watch a video at the same time. And when I would click over to scrub the video, then the screen would minimize.
And that's
So
unbelievably annoying.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
you're doing what you like. I would want to be able to play on my computer and have a guide
yeah,
up on my other monitor to be like, okay, yeah, this is exact, and just go
yeah.
back and forth so easily, and you can't. Um, so
So I think it'll get there, but it's still a little wonky
yeah,
as far as I'm concerned.
I would just like to say I'm reading the post from Meathead, and he said that they're opening it up, open up early access on EA app, on the EA app, maybe, I don't know, for PC to all players. I think there should be an asterisk there because it's not all players.
Yeah. And
Sad face.
if you're a Linux user,
Hmm.
don't chime in here. I'm not interested. Okay. You know, I don't care that you and your beard will never be able to play Galaxy of Heroes on a monitor. So
uh, I will say the other thing that I don't like, and it's just I'm gonna preface this by acknowledging that I am being bitter about this. I know I'm being bitter. I'm going to be bitter anyway. I hate logging into the game now and getting the pop up in game to be like, come check, like advertising the PC app. And I'm like, I can't use you. Thank you for reminding me, jerks.
come check out this thing that you cannot do because
It's
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 awesome.
like when somebody's eating in front of me and they're going on about how good the food is
Yeah,
and like it's full of gluten, and I'm like, thanks,
yeah,
asshole.
yeah,
And they're like, oh, just kidding, it's awful. I'm like, sure it is.
yeah.
That's why you're drooling.
Or like, oh, I gotta go get my cholesterol tested tomorrow. My wife's like, hey, I made eggs, bacon, and pancakes for everybody for breakfast. Ah,
You're like,
terrible.
great, thanks. All right. On that happy note, should we look at Morgan's kit?
Let's look at Morgan's kit.
Maybe it'll be a bit more joyous for us. So you haven't read it, and I haven't read it.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. She's in game right now. She's got the new marquee structure, which I think is here to stay, by the way.
But before we jump into Morgan,
Yeah.
and I don't know if we talked about the new forums are live,
Yeah, they are.
and I only found this out because I could not find the links to the kits to paste in our show notes. And then I'm like,
Ah,
oh, there's a new forum, so I have to go somewhere new to figure it out.
yeah.
So
And they look different.
they do.
Um, I don't know how I feel about them.
I think they're trying too hard to be fancy.
I kind of feel like it looks like it's given me like MySpace vibes.
Yeah. Uh, when I read something, I want a lot of words on the page,
Hmm.
not a little bit of words, and then 7 related posts that I'm never going to read, including right now, the related posts are kit concept, Morgan Elsbeth,
Hmm.
game crash during Morgan Elsbeth, kit reveal, Captain Drogon, new 2024 roadmap revealed from
Why
7 months.
why is a kit reveal from 11 months ago a related
Yeah,
post?
I don't know.
Maybe Night Troopers should be
Yeah.
the related post.
Uh, I mean, we know that Crumb at least made a post 11 months ago because of what I see there. So yeah, uh, I don't love the format.
It's fine. We're just gonna nitpick today.
We are. This is just like
Man,
we had an idea for the name of the episode, but maybe it's just like HNN gets pissy is
that's the
the
new one.
episode name.
That's the alternative name. um, can you see the kit? I know
I
you're
can't see
not
the kit. Yeah,
okay. You can?
I can.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you want to read it? Do you want me to read it? What do you want to do?
I can read it,
Go for
or
it.
I'll read parts of it. She is a tank, dark side, night sister, and that's it.
I did not know
Uh,
she was a tank.
she is a tank. Yes.
Did she give
Uh,
you tank vibes during the show? Because she did not really give me tank vibes.
no, and I rewatched on the airplane. I rewatched the Ahsoka episode,
Mm-hmm.
and I watched a couple of the season 3 or some of the Ahsoka show. So the Mandalorian episode with Ahsoka in it, I
Okay.
watched
Yep.
that. And then I watched a couple of other episodes. Yeah, she doesn't give me a tank vibe. Um, I don't know what vibe she really gives besides angry.
Yeah.
Um, so
She seems more of a support person to me. Like she
yes,
feels like a minion.
very much.
But okay, we can tank.
Like Thrawn's right hand person,
Yeah.
and Enoch should have been the tank.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
She gives me like Bellatrix Lestrange vibes.
good call. Good call. Um, all right. So basic, the Blade of Talzin. Final text. Deal physical damage to target enemy and Morgan gains defense up, protection up for 1 turn. If target enemy is inflicted with defense down, the weakest other non-tank Night Sister ally gains stealth for 1 turn. If Morgan is taunting, inflict target enemy with vulnerable for 1 turn. So they did say that this is supposed to work with the trash Night
Mm-hmm.
Sisters and Spirit.
I'm so
So
excited for my Relegate, whatever one I have. Whatever trash I have at Relegate.
yeah, either Turbine A or Turbine B, I think
That's
their actual
exactly
name.
what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah. So the whole thing of getting, if there's stealth in the kit, that's probably part of where that's going to come from. So special one, my loyalty, my life. Um, this is literally an ability that all she does is bow.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it right now and
A bit of a letdown. Um, Dispel all buffs on all enemies, and all Night Sister allies recover 50% health and protection and gain defense penetration up for 2 turns. If Morgan is taunting, all Night Sister allies gain 20% turn meter and tenacity up for 2 turns. So, okay, tanky stuff. Special 2, let none pass, 4 cooldown Omicron.
mm-hmm.
Uh, Final text. Deal physical damage to target enemy, blind them for 1 turn, inflict them with armor shred for the rest of the encounter, and call all other Night Sister allies to assist. If this attack defeats an enemy, blind all enemies for 2 turns, which can't be evaded or resisted.
Okay.
Um, while in Grand Arena, stagger target enemy for 2 turns, expose all enemies and inflict them with buff immunity for 2 turns. If the target enemy is inflicted with defense down, Night Sister allies deal an additional 5% damage, and the cooldown of all their abilities are decreased by 1. All Night Sister allies gain Frenzy for 1 turn and protection up for 2 turns. So,
That's kind of cool.
so help me out with, if for Frenzy up,
For Frenzy, yeah.
would that, so all 5 have Frenzy up.
Mm-hmm.
Morgan takes a turn and uses a special ability. That means the other 4 characters all get in a turn.
Yeah. They'll go to 100% turn meter.
And then the next one, So
So what would happen? See, it's kind of weird because you're just boosting them all to 100% right away. So it doesn't really matter that the rest of them have frenzy because like if if she does a special and initiate is the next one to take a turn because of frenzy procking and the turn order that's going on and
yep.
she does a special, they're all like already there anyway. So
But where it so the first frenzied character, it doesn't matter because they'll go to 100%, they'll take their turn. No, this isn't, and then they lose because it's frenzy for one turn, so they lose
yeah.
frenzy. But then they don't, they just go back to normal. Why not just give everybody it's
That's why I'm
it
like it
seems
doesn't
really weird.
really. Does it matter? Are we missing
I don't think
something?
it does.
I don't think it does. Because like I said, like if initiate is next to go, she does a special. The other three that haven't had their turns, the frenzy's still there, so they're at
Yeah.
100% turn meter, but they're already at 100% turn meter.
Now, the idea of I use a special ability and then all four of the characters on my team all go to 100% turn meter. Yeah, that's really cool. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm down with that, but it seems like there's other mechanics to get that done.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mopoki's saying it's going to be no different than the frenzy consumable in Conquest, and then
okay.
everyone just takes a turn right away.
Okay.
Which,
Um,
yeah.
so unique one,
Mm-hmm.
preordained destiny. Um, at the start of battle, all Night Sister allies gain 10% critical chance, defense, and max health, 30% tenacity, and 50% max protection. Whenever another Night Sister ally stealths, they gain 15% critical damage for one turn. Morgan taunts for one turn, and all Night Sister allies recover 25% health.
Okay.
Whatever the Night Sister ally gains foresight, they gain 20% offense for one turn, and Night Sister allies recover 25% protection. Whenever a Night Sister ally critically hits an enemy, that enemy is inflicted with defense down for one turn. And then the first time each other Night Sister ally falls below 20%, they gain foresight and stealth for two turns. Morgan gains 20% defense until the end of the encounter. And they and Morgan recover 30% health and protection and gain 30% turn meter.
Holy.
Whenever Morgan is defeated, inflict all enemies with health down for two turns, which can't be dispelled, evaded, or resisted. All Night Sister allies recover 100% health and protection and gain 5% critical avoidance and defense, plus an additional 10% critical avoidance and defense per relic amplifier level of Morgan that Morgan had until the end of the encounter.
Ooh. So theoretically, you could be gaining 95%.
Correct. Whenever Morgan taunts, all Night Sister allies recover 20% health and protection, gain 15% offense until she loses taunt. Whenever she loses taunt, she recovers 5% health protection and gains 10% turn meter. Defeated allies can't be revived. This effect
Oh.
persists to defeat. So,
Oh. So that's how you, I guess, keep Doc and Talzin away from her.
uh, and zombie.
Right, and zombie. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because that wouldn't trigger.
I mean, basically everyone on that team except for Asajj.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Um, so so looking at this, I'm looking at these clauses maybe a little differently.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one, whenever Night Sister ally stealths, they get 15% critical damage for one turn.
Mm-hmm.
That's Night Sister Turban A, we'll say. Like
The one with the bow.
yeah, okay, it's the one with the bow. So
Yeah.
that's Bowhead gets 50% critical damage for one turn, which turns her into um the Dathomir Bowhead in
Mm-hmm.
Rise of the Empire when they go critical and
Yeah.
keep moving you over. Then the next one is when Spirit Spirit's going to keep getting 20% offense for one turn, and all allies are going to recover. Like Night Sister Spirit gets, she gets
Foresight.
foresight. Thank you. I was going to say eye buff. She gets foresight so frequently. Like they're going to be recovering 25% protection all the time.
Yeah.
And these are not, this is just the unique. This is not the Grand Arena piece.
Right. Like this is
So
just because you have Morgan on the team.
yeah,
And
the
okay, sorry, I just realized. So she's not the leader. So
yes,
ideal squad would be Asajj lead.
Biggie Sis, Biggie Sis will be the leader of the
Oh,
squad. I
right,
think
right.
yeah, they'll end up being the leaders of that squad from that side.
I forgot about them
Asajj is the leader
in
in
the
the
event.
event
Yeah,
because she's the only leader that actually works with.
yeah.
So
Okay. I
so
mean,
that's the kit.
that sounds fun. It kind of just makes me want to see the old ladies more.
Yes.
I want them to
Hopefully
come.
they're the next kid.
Yeah, I want them to come into the game. So I can see how this will all piece together. It sounds cool. Her animations are okay. Her bow is kind of sad.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, especially with the fight scene with Ahsoka was in the first time that they met each other was pretty good. Um, it's disappointing that this awesome warrior witch gets a that's
Mm-hmm.
you would think they could have done something else. I don't know.
Yeah. So they do say in the FAQ, for those who don't read it, that you will need her at Relic 7 for Balin's school
Okay.
for the epic confrontation for him. So
Oh, they didn't. So okay.
yeah, so you'll need her at Relic 7 and then whoever else we need for him.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Um yeah. So that's Morgan.
Those are the favorites.
Okay. Here's the blurb. So Mole Pokey was saying that they explained the tank thing, and I was trying to find it. Um, we were inspired for her to be the tank in the new Night Sister squad from Thrawn's request that she stall and hold off Ahsoka while he escaped.
Ah,
I guess. I guess. I can understand.
yeah. We also know that sometimes CG just makes decisions because that's what they need.
Yeah. I'm just
You know.
thinking of all the times that like I stall. Like,
Yeah.
I take like 4 breaks at work. Am I a tank?
Yes, you are. We're now gonna we're that's now I want to meet your coworkers. Like, could you just call her Sarah the Tank from this point forward?
uh, um, and then okay, so Bacon was saying in chat. I don't know if they've actually said this. If the Great Mothers are going to be a legendary or not, or if they're going to be a
No,
marquee.
marquee. They will be a
Marquee.
marquee. Yep.
Do you
Yeah.
think they will also be needed for Balin's Skull?
Yes, I do.
All right. All right. Cool. Um,
I think the big question now
it,
is will Balin's skull be a requirement for Ahsoka?
that is the big question, which is interesting because then if she's coming, later this year, and let's
Yeah.
just bookmark mid-November for her. Could be earlier. I don't think it would be later though because I can't see them drop like maybe at the absolute latest beginning of December. Um his event would have to take place beginning of November at the latest. And
So
if it's going to be an epic confrontation like Bo, it's only going to come back once a month.
so I'm gonna put this out there and no one's gonna like it. I'm gonna speak it into existence.
Uh-oh.
Balin's skull will be a requirement.
Mhm.
He will be the good old fashioned once every 3 month style requirement. And if you miss him, you're going to miss Ahsoka by 2 to 3 months.
Which would be bad if they do make Ahsoka beginning of December and they have the new raid, whatever that is, drop February or March.
Yeah.
You might just miss out.
Yeah.
Because then you could potentially be in you could put, if you're not ready for whenever Balin drops, if that's the case, you could potentially be 3 months into the raid, into the new raid before. This is all,
Yeah,
tinfoil hat.
I could see a way that CG is trying to big brain the community by not putting any marquee characters in the Ahsoka release,
Hmm.
but then burying them all beneath Balin and be like,
Ooh.
we didn't do we didn't. You guys complained about four marquees for a Galactic Legend, so we got rid of that. We put them underneath this other character that you need first.
Because it does make sense for Morgan to go to Balin. It makes sense for uh zombie trooper dude to go to Balin.
Yeah.
Who would the dark side requirements be for Ahsoka then? Vader.
Oh, you could use Vader. You could use didn't she go on a mission with Tarkin and Anakin, or am I thinking? I know that Anakin did. Um, you could make one of the Inquisitors.
Yeah. Do you think Bam would
Uh,
be a requirement?
ooh, what if it's yeah, you said Bam, so you're thinking Conquest
Yeah.
Beskar Mandalorian?
Yeah, yeah. Conquest Mando.
If it is, I think that's a fair one considering how long he's been available.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't love the idea of the latest Galactic Legend being gated that far away for new players.
Fair.
Because
Fair.
there's a 4 million GP gate in front of you. Can you even build a team to go after it?
No, but Bam wasn't he Hero's Journey? He wasn't Conquest. Razor Crest was Conquest.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yep. Yeah. Oh, then if it's it, yeah, and his you only need characters at G12.
Mm-hmm. And like, okay,
So
so Vaughn just said they just did Bam for the bow requirements, but
fair enough. Yeah.
Ahsoka also interacted with Bam.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Just and I completely forgot. Apparently, Night Trooper is in the Ahsoka requirements.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Yep.
I forgot.
Which maybe we'll get Enoch then in her requirements as well. Um, so
Seems weird.
here's a also I'm going to get very speculative right now because we're talking about Balin Skull.
Okay.
Uh, he is going to be a dark side unaligned force user. I don't think that's
Okay.
that's a shock for anybody.
Yeah, I could see that. Uh
Um,
huh.
he will also be Sith.
Can you be unaligned Force user and Sith?
So, well, okay, so here's let me maybe let's not get bogged down by tags.
Okay.
I see I see two possible outcomes for him.
Okay.
The first is Balin, Shin, and he polishes the turds of Savage and
Mm.
Darth Maul in
Mm-hmm.
other game modes.
Okay.
That is the first. The second, unaligned force user leader, and he then picks up some of the dark side turds like Kylo Ren,
Right.
the original Kylo Ren, would work with maybe second sister and ninth sister to
Mm-hmm.
make kind of pick up the pieces from the Inquisitorious ones that are there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it would also be really interesting to see if he doesn't get a Star Killer like kit where he actually then does pull in Darth Maul and maybe the OG Kylo and a couple of other things from that side. So it'll be interesting. So Molpoke said he's going to have a mercenary tag. Absolutely. Who knows what mercenary means? This is the um, this is Hondo being a neutral character,
Yeah.
but he's a neutral. What does it really mean from that side? So I think we're gonna pull some turds onto that team.
Yeah. Um, I think also Ahsoka has to be unaligned Force user.
Yes, 100%,
You can't have her not be
100%.
like that. Yeah. Um. Okay. So that's Morgan. There was no Q&A with her kit. I don't know why.
It was explicitly called out there will not be a Q&A with
Yeah.
this kit.
It was very weird. Why?
Um,
Anyway.
it's late summer. Meathead was going on vacation and just didn't have time to get it done.
All right. I could have done it for him. Just give me the answers in advance. I'll even proofread for you.
Or let's be honest, the Q&A is we wrote some answers. Now you guys make up the questions.
Yeah. And the fact. Okay, so that's basically the news because
Yes.
that's it.
That's it.
That's it. So that being said, what would you say are that's no moon is?
So I think the PC client really, man, more lights just turned off in this stupid room. This is insane. This is just happening. Might have to revoke my endorsement of the Embassy Suites on 900 State Street in Chicago, Illinois. uh, I said the PC client, right? Is that what?
Yeah, PC client.
Yeah. I what do you think the longer term goal of the PC client is?
I don't know because I don't think you could go away from I don't think they would be able to get away with moving it off of mobile entirely.
I agree.
So, what is the goal then?
I one of the interesting realizations for me as the PC client came out was finding out just how many people don't have computers.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because I work in technology, so the idea of not having my own PC or my own machine in my house blows my mind. But listening to guildmates, to other folks on other servers that like, no, my only way to access the internet from my home is from my phone or from a tablet. Like I don't have a monitor and a keyboard. And I'm sorry, but there is zero way in the world you could convince me to go spend $600 or $700 on a machine just to play Galaxy of Heroes.
Yeah, absolutely. I would not.
Yeah, so I don't know what the long-term goal is.
I'm wondering if it's more of a as they've added things to the game, like this has been a topic many times, like the amount of time that you spend in game has increased dramatically between Raid, Conquest, TB, Grand Arena, like all of the things. And PC client gives me the vibe of sit down and play your video game. Sit down and play on the PlayStation, play on the Xbox. Same idea in terms of PC client to me is like sit down and play for hours, versus like being on your phone for hours.
I mean, I get that. The graphics are amazing.
Yeah.
But like I did last raid I did on the PC client, and I'm like, this will be awesome because it's basically like the same, especially with the B2 squad. It's like the same 3 keys that I need to type over and over. I actually found that trying to play with just with the keyboard was actually a worse experience than tapping on the screen. I could tap faster than I could play with 3 fingers because it's I got to remember what number I need to press for all of these droids or what so it wasn't as seamless as using a keyboard for controlling like I have in other games and things like that. And using the mouse on a bigger monitor, it's like, oh, the UI is not set up well because it's like, oh, I've got to click all this stuff over here, but then everything else is all the way over here. So I kind of feel like I'm doing this back and forth through the entire time.
Your windshield wipering.
Yes, exactly. And again, this isn't a knock against the PC client because there are some things in the game I prefer to do there, but uh, I don't think the interface translates well between the two.
That's unfortunate.
Uh, I
So,
I wish you had an opinion to share on this topic, but again, they decided to gate this to only Windows PCs that are highly vulnerable to
yeah.
uh, software defects by other security vendors.
Yeah. And before anyone, gets on me for it, I can't even do like because so many people are like, oh, just install like, what's it called? Parallels, whatever it is that puts Windows on my computer.
Yeah.
I,
Hey,
it,
double the price of your licensing.
but also like it wouldn't work because I have an iMac chip iMac,
Yeah.
not a like I have an M1 iMac, not a
Yeah.
Intel iMac. So it won't even work that way. Anyway, so I I did it to myself. I'm aware of this, but it's fine.
Yeah.
I have no opinion on the PC client. I can provide no opinion. I I wouldn't even want to put it on my work laptop, which is Windows. Um, just because it's such a crappy laptop. I think it would be. I think my laptop would just start smoking.
It just starts saying Roger, Roger,
Yeah.
Roger, Roger.
Like when I work from home, I purposely leave applications closed because my laptop starts like to get bogged down. I'm like, well, I can't do that. So, anyway, uh, yeah, I'm just disappointed I can't do the PC client. I'm also like the raid is here. I guess that's big. The Datacrons. I will say I have seen more PvP players, PvP like preference
Yeah.
players, like focus players, whatever you want to call it, complaining about this Datacron set than I have in the past. And like people that like Datacrons
Yeah.
complaining about this set.
We were talking about this. Well, no, we were talking about the show. Man, this is how drained I am after the last couple of days. And like, were we talking about this before the show or on the show? And we've only been on the show for like 25 minutes. So that's how bad. Um, I don't it's I don't think they took into consideration how people build datacrons when
Right.
they made this change.
Right. I don't think they did either.
Uh, it's a great change if they don't have two options at every level 9.
Yeah. You can't even get all the level 9s. There's
Yeah,
too many.
yeah. And again, I appreciate they tried something different. Uh, hopefully, they're sitting down over the next 2 months and realizing, oh, these are the changes we have to make, and let's see where it goes the next way around.
Yeah. I really hope that they're paying attention to that stuff
Yeah.
and tweaking it.
Hey, Meathead, this would be a great opportunity for one of those actually really good surveys that you do to ask for feedback from the
Mm-hmm.
community. See, do you like this? What don't you like about it? And what would you do differently?
Yeah, absolutely. This
In
is
fact, I'm going to go out on a limb and call it one of Meathead's famous surveys.
But like this is a prime time to do
Yeah,
it. I'm surprised
yeah.
that they didn't do one right after they rolled it out. Maybe they're waiting for it to like get a little further in. I don't know.
Maybe he was actually just waiting for us to give him the go ahead to do it.
We give you permission, meathead.
We've granted you permission. You're good.
You
Please
may
do.
you may proceed. uh what's our bantha in the room? We have the same bantha, which is just hilarious.
Uh,
I hate this raid.
I
I
want to complain about the raid, but it's bad.
I hate this fucking raid.
Yeah.
Like give me speeder bike back. I can't. I cannot with this raid. The
I
the amount of times that I had to restart today because the RNG just blew like the exact same mod set, exact same squad, exact like doing the exact same thing, and I'm just getting blown out way too early or hitting rage way too early that I'm like I'm not even like my Gungans, 4-man Gungans, Relic 8 with the Omicron. The first two raids maxed. The first raid took me a few tries because obviously like getting used to it. Second raid maxed it first run. The last two raids, so this one that we are currently in, I haven't posted my Gungan run yet because I keep getting blown out. And the last one, it took me 8 or 9 restarts and I didn't max it. I just was like, this is good enough. I'm fed up and posted it. The it's the RNG of just like the how many turns can the command droid
Yeah.
take, and like because the enrage meter moves based off their turns. So I'm
Yep.
like, this is ridiculous. Today they kept killing my phalange. I'm like, can you just like chill? Like just stop killing them.
So we're gonna put a mechanic in the raid that when you have potency up, you go berserk.
Right.
But we're also going to put a mechanic in the raid that one of the characters has the ability to remove all of your buffs, and you can do nothing to stop his turn meter, kill him early, or block his ability to use that ability. So like I had to keep restarting yesterday with the Luminara team, which I think is a lot of fun, but because the commander droid, I'd put potency up, he'd strip it off, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden the crappy Jedis without something that gives them like 7,000% offense means they just run up and they tickle a droid and then they run away giggling.
It means they're just crap again. And you're like,
Yes.
why did I put all this relic material into you?
And you're like, oh, great. Now I got to wait 3 turns until I can do this again.
I was so like, I did my Queenie Loverboy team and also took a few tries this go around, which was hilarious considering I took the Loverboys to Relic 9 today. But whatever. And and then I posted it and I was like, good enough. And then I went to do Gungans and I was like, I can't. I'm so mad at this. I need to
Yeah.
just walk away. Uh, and then I went and got a chocolate bar.
So last night I got home. I got back to the embassy suites at 600 State Street in Chicago, Illinois. And I had 5 hours to myself. I had a book I wanted to read, and I'm like, I'm gonna knock the raid out really quick. 4.5 hours later, I'm like, I'm just going to bed.
Isn't it absolutely? I was like, man, we're going back to 5 attempts. It's going to be
Yeah.
faster. No, I don't even want to put relics into the teams now so that I can like take a lower score because I feel
Yeah.
like I can't. Like I feel like there it's just a toss up on what's the acceptable score now. I don't know.
My plan was because I've got an R9 Loverboy squad, and then I was going to take the Gungans to R9, so I only had to run 4.
Right.
And now I'm like, I don't want to give this raid anything else of me. I'll still do 5, but I I don't. My most consistent score is the team of garbage, or is the leftover Jedi.
My most consistent score is the B2 led team, the B2 lead with Maul, and I get one. Granted, mine are still Relic 7, so
Yeah.
they perform better at the higher tiers. So at Relic 7, they tend to cap out at 1.3. I get 1.34 every single time. And I'm like, yep, post. And I'm happy. And it's always the first run. I'm like, you guys worked. Cool. Everyone else can suck it.
So I got into the final wave with that team last night after having to restart twice because things didn't work out. And then someone, a good guildie,
Mm-hmm.
posted in Discord that we were at 2-star on Braca. And I heard ding for the notification because I'm a TW crew, so I got or TV crew because I got tagged in it. I heard ding, and immediately the panic set in before it happened, and that caused a crash of the app.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. So and I know that they said that like the crash was related to sound is what they've said. So I went in and I turned off sound and I ran the rest of my missions and I know like people don't play with music and everything. I like to actually play with the pew pew pews in the background,
Yeah.
uh, because again, like it removes the fact that you're sitting alone in a hotel room, in dead silence. And
Fair.
so like doing that for like another 2.5, 3 hours of just dead silence, just like pleading, please don't crash out on me again.
I know a lot of people have been crashing this raid too.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. So I'm
Oh,
just I'm
great.
over it. I just want to be. I'm just over it. I don't want to spend hours on a raid
Yeah.
so that I can
Um,
bang my head against the wall to get the bare minimum score.
it it's funny to me that 5 runs take significantly longer than 8.
Yeah, it's pathetic to me.
Yeah.
I'm not good at math, but I know that that's not right.
Yeah. Um, I appreciate their attempt at random changes to the raid, but no, please don't do that again. Um, I think people are more than happy to unlock the puzzle.
Yeah,
No one wants the puzzle to change between waves because then the pattern falls and then people get angry and they quit.
and I think people have proven that they're more than willing to invest in the characters for the
Yeah.
raid and work on teams for the raid. So just make it so that it works without
So,
us
so
wanting to bang our head on the wall.
um, I would like Dar pointed out in chat, like my runs were fine. Of course they're fine because you are awesome at the raid and everything you've ever done has been awesome at the raid. Like,
Hmm.
I don't know what dirt he has on CG, but clearly his account has been touched by
The
you know
gods.
the gods to be awesome from that side. Um, now we should say as much as we're complaining about this, we were the third guild ever to get max box.
I think we're fourth. We were pretty
We're
high
currently
up.
four. We're currently four right now, but we were the third ever to get to the final box. So again, phenomenal job by everyone in Old Dirty Blasters and um, to get there. And again, we'll just continue to carry that through. But can we start talking about the next one?
Yeah. I'm not mad about the rewards or anything. I just it's the
Yeah,
time. It's the time. Like that is my issue. It's the time and the restarts and all that. And also like if the max score, for example, for my Gungan team, the max score would be 2.7. I'm happy with 2.5. I'm happy with 2.4. I'll take that. I don't need to get 2.7. But when I'm saying that I'm getting frustrated, it's because for whatever reason they're killing my phalange. I'm hitting in rage, whatever, at like 1 to 1.5 million, like super far off. That it's
yeah, yeah.
wild. Anyway, that's it. That's the raid. Screw the raid. Also, I totally feel you on the sleepy thing because I fell asleep playing it too.
Yeah. Not a good time.
So
It also had nothing to do with the fact that I had turned the air conditioner down to like 60 degrees. And I think my body was shutting down as well, but that's completely different.
the
So
takeaway from this chat is don't play the raid in bed.
yes.
Got it. Got it. Okay, so that brings us to our I love you, I know segment. And it is easy for us to complain all day long about this game. But there has to be something that we have liked recently, right? Maybe? Yeah? Eh?
Actually, so here's one.
Okay.
Did you get to do the assault battle today?
I
All the way through?
did. I did all of them
And it was the
today.
first time for me as well.
Okay. I enjoyed it.
I did too.
Um yeah, it was quite nice. So I took them to Relic 9 today. I was able to get doing the assault battle, I was able to get before the Relic 9 tier enough blue signal data to take Obi-Wan to Relic
Okay.
9. And then I bought 50. I needed 51. So I bought 50, and then I ended up getting
Okay.
the extra one to take Qui-Gon up so that I could do the Relic 9 tier. And I tried the Relic 9 tier a few times, could not get it to work. I was really lazy. I didn't want to swap my mods, so I just kept slicing my mods. Because that's the
Gonna gamble my
solution.
way to the top.
And I got pretty close a few times, and then I was like, oh, I'll just do my Queenie raid run, and I'll put my raid mods on.
Yeah.
And then I did the assault battle after that, and I was like, easy breezy, beautiful, 3 stars, and now I get to sim it forever.
Yeah. Um, also, really great morning that not only was it the assault battle, this new assault battle, but also it was the Jabba event, which is still, I think the Jabba event is going to be challenged for the best reward event compared to this new assault battle thing. I did a refresh and ended up with 10 droid brains, which was phenomenal.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So I the only ones that I'm refreshing are I'll refresh the droid brain one, and I refresh the mod material.
The Dooku one.
Yep.
Yeah. That assault battle.
No. So the wave the assault battle wave in this one that has all of the
sorry, yeah.
all the mod material in it. Um, I'll do those two at least for the time being. But yeah, that was cool. I don't want to turn this into negative.
Okay.
I'm not excited about a lot right now because I think the way that like what excites me is using new teams. Like I just like using new teams.
Yeah.
Or new compositions of characters and teams. The way the release cadences seems to be going for this Ahsoka team, we're getting bits and pieces kind of scattered all over the place that are not making new teams.
Right.
I ran Night Trooper with Dark Trooper Moff Gideon last Rise of the Empire, and it was terrible.
Yeah.
I feel like something's missing from it. We got Morgan, but we don't have Biggie sisters, so that team's not complete.
It's like you're just waiting.
Yeah. But putting resources away from like Luthien is the first character that in a long time that I have struggled getting prepared to have resources for because it's just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Just gross.
I know. I am pretty much ignoring Luthien, whatever, whoever he is. Like to the point that I was just so run down with work last week. I was really behind on Conquest, and I was like, do I just like get gold and get Luthien in 4 conquests and just say I didn't. I got red. It was fine. But I was just like, do I just like say screw it this time? Which, by the way, I have not done since Jasper was born.
Here's a, as you said, Luthien or Luthien. So Zara, turn off the show real quick. So you want to blow his mind is start referring to him as Baron.
As Baron.
As Baron, because there is a very old historical piece of the Lord of the Rings of the story of Baron and Luthien. Baron was a human who fell in love with Luthien, who was an elf, and how they cut one of the Silmarils from the head of Morgoth, the ultimate evil. So just drop that on him and then just watch his head go like
just casually. Like, yeah, see, I know Lord of the Rings.
Of all the things I have ever said on the show, I think this is the first time you ever legitimately rolled your eyes at me as I started describing this.
I was like, Lord of the Rings stuff, man. But I almost, by the way, did not get red crate. I fully was like, yeah, it's fine, I'll get it. And then on the last day, I went in. So on Monday morning, I was like, yeah, I'm going to go through and blow all my energy and my refreshes and whatever. I wasn't going to preload. And I went into Professor X and all was good. We were all happy. And then I switched into mine and went in and simmed a whole bunch. and then noticed that I was sitting at 629 out of 630.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit. And I just forgot to clean up a note, which was fine. But yeah.
I, I
I'm not excited for him. So I'm not hoarding his gear. I don't really care about gearing him.
I am so over these Datacrons and in this set that Friday morning I woke up and I was at 78 energy, conquest energy,
Mm-hmm.
and just decided I'm gonna buy my refreshes and just sit on 318.
Yep. And just say
I just
screw
I
it.
just I'm just like, you know what? It's I'm just done.
Yeah. That's fair.
I'll call it a day.
That's fair. Um,
It wasn't intended to be negative. It's just more like I just don't have new toys to play with right now, so I'm not
right.
excited about the thing.
And it's frustrating. Like we know what's coming, but we also don't know what's coming. We also don't
Yeah.
know. I'm surprised that they haven't said this, by the way. We don't know how long this raid is going to be the feature
Yeah.
raid for, which I wish they would tell us.
Because so here's a little interesting. I'll tie it back here in a second. So like product development organizations will typically say like we'll have that feature to you in 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then the sales organization tells their customer, we'll have that feature to you in 5 months. And the customers will then say, well, if the sales guy is saying 5 months, we're going to add 3 more months onto that and we'll have it in 8. Like that,
Right.
that's how roadmap cycles work. The rate is going to be the exact opposite. Like we're going to give you this rate for the next 9 months and we're immediately going to take 2 months off of that number.
Yeah.
Like because that's where we're at. So like if they're like, great, we're going to tell you, guys are telling you the truth. It's 6 months. Oh, it's only 4 months.
Right.
So we're just going to go opposite of everything that they say. We're just going to keep peeling more and more time off to it's coming in a month.
I just, the only reason is like, I think it's important to know, even if you don't trust the number, then you can gauge when does your point of investment on this
Yeah.
raid stop? When do you
Yep.
stop investing in teams for this, accept what you're getting as your rewards, no matter what your tier is, whatever your guild box is, all that kind of stuff, and start thinking about teams for the next raid and
Yep.
keeping some materials aside for the next raid for the characters that you need for that. Because that's definitely what you like. That's why I think ODB was so fast to get to the max crate, because we knew we wanted to stop investing in like March. Stop
Yeah.
investing in your teams for the raid and start hoarding your materials for the teams for the next raid coming up.
And I think and there was some interesting discussion about this on Discord uh, about our roster sizes compared to maybe someone else and some of these things. And there's always a balance between, you know, where the water line is when you start
Mm-hmm.
versus, you know, I heard this phrase the other day and I heard it once in a while. It's great. It's, you know, it's the rising tide lifts all boats type idea there.
Mm-hmm.
And so what's our starting water line in these events, which then makes it easier to rise some of these up. But the other piece of this is the previous raid, when they announced the characters, there was a pretty big portion of the guild that immediately just started dumping resources into those characters, not rather than waiting to find out if they were good, but it was just I'm going to put resources into these characters. And part of it was because I think the characters were a little better on that side,
Mm-hmm.
but which allowed us to be more successful earlier, which then allowed us to kind of hit that point, which then allowed us to save more on the long run. And it kind of does create this kind of rolling stone momentum piece. Uh, you know, if I think the winning strategy though is kind of what you laid out right there, is that folks are just going to have to start. Well, I don't advocate hoarding for the sake of hoarding.
Right.
I do think you need to have some things in place for flexibility for when a raid comes out. You know, if the next time that they announce a raid, if it's an 8 3-man team raid,
Mm-hmm.
you need to look at you need to have have enough resources to take 60% of that the number of teams up to relic 8, So you like that should be your goal.
Right.
Not everybody, but enough put away that you can drive those up across that list. And then again, hope that maybe we get lucky and we've got some characters you've already put some investment in.
Right. And I think like for me personally, a lot of why I could dump stuff into the characters is because like that's other than that, my only focus was one thing at a time. So, um, it was whoever it was that we got in June, May, Jar Jar. So
Yep.
the only thing that I was focusing on was putting gear on my Gungans, which I knew that they would be needed for the raid, so it was twofold. But because I was gearing them, anyone else that I wanted to gear for the raid as well, like that was my only focus. I wasn't like
Yeah.
spreading myself too thin and trying to gear a GL and Gungans and other raid characters and like all of that kind of stuff, which obviously like does have to do with how your roster is built. But just in general, I think even if you have multiple things you need to be working on, you need to hyper focus on
Yeah.
where your return of investment is going to give you the best payoff. And then focus on one thing at a time, because if you're
Yeah.
working on 5 squads, it's going to take you forever.
Yep. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And the other one I'd say is while we have historically found a way to create undermanned squads for the raid, that can't be your strategy
No.
for the raid.
No.
It just can't.
Like
Yeah.
I have every intention of taking R2 to Relic 9 as well, just for the added, like, just for making it easier on me.
Yeah.
Instead of doing Queenie and the boys, it's going to be Queenie, the boys, and R2.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
just because it's going to make it easier.
Yep.
So, okay, moving on. Shall we do some Discord corner questions?
Let's do some cues.
Okay. Bane was asking, so he thinks hot topic, but with Sarah being so good at Conquest and Pico actually having it applied, is the Obi-Wan Omicron worth it? Currently sitting at 13 million and managed to always get red crate, but how much time do you both think the Omicron would save? Time is my most valuable resource, and any time that could be saved, especially during Hell Week, would be amazing.
I have a lot to say on this.
I personally think this Omicron is worth it for lower GP players.
Okay.
When I don't even want to say worth it. I think it's more appealing to lower GP players. I mean, I don't have it applied, so I don't know how much time it would actually save. There are just so many of the. If Conquest stays how it is right now with the changes that they've made, it is unbelievably easy to get through to Red Crate for higher GP players with the roster. You can basically bludgeon your way to it now. The thing that I have noticed and have had people tell me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but because of how the Omicron works in terms of either buffs or debuffs, it really depends on your either getting to take a turn to apply your buffs or not killing the enemies with the Amplify Agony because of your debuffs going out there, and then if you kill them, it doesn't count.
You absolutely have to put some thought into what you're doing to use it effectively. And I got really good at it this time around for a couple of things. One, I built a team that could generate a lot of buffs and didn't kill something. So it was Barris, it was Luminara, it's characters that have non-damaging moves that then spread the buff. So like that was a huge help from that side. It helped that those characters got boosted for the raid so that they weren't, garbage on that side. the debuff piece, I had to think a little bit harder about what I was doing with data disks to get
Yeah.
it to. Um, Now, this is where I want to be very careful with this because it's funny, because we talked about this on a couple of episodes back, and this topic came up on Reddit a week or two ago.
Mm-hmm.
And in the thread, someone was talking about how the Omicron was not good,
Mm-hmm.
and they directly referenced me.
Oh.
Pico Burrito of Old Dirty Blasters, one of the hosts of HNN, 14 million GP player, has said that this is not good or garbage or trash something point. And I'm like, and I jumped in, I'm like, first of all, I don't go by my name on Reddit. I have a different name. So like point of clarification, that is me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh I did not say that, and this is my view. Like I've got, and it's exactly what I just I got better at using it. I do think that I think there's some advantage, but I'm not ready to make a real strong decision on it because I don't know how much of the benefit right now is because of the current iteration of Conquest.
Right.
We need a couple of iterations to go across it. A couple of things to me that are really interesting. Um, I am not the only person that I know that has applied it in Old Dirty Blasters. I know Mole Pokey has. He and I have traded a couple of notes on him, but I haven't checked with him in this latest round is to see kind of where his head is. I've also seen some other folks that have applied it as well, because again, and I think part of it speaks to, um, I think people are starting to build up a little bit of reserves of Omicrons that I'm going to see what this does.
Mm-hmm.
If when people kind of got to the point of the luxury, the idea of luxury zetas,
Yeah.
like I think we're starting to see that with Omicrons. Um,
Absolutely.
Personally, yeah, I think in the current iteration of territory wars, I think territory war Omicrons are a waste.
Yeah. Territory Wars needs to be overhauled
Yes.
desperately.
Now, what I really want to tell Bane here in this context is there are better Omicrons to save your time
Mm-hmm.
than this one. And a couple of those are Paz Vizsla,
Mm-hmm.
abs 100% Finn. Um, and the other, I would say, if you have the Gungans, I think that Tarpals, and it's funny because originally I didn't think Tarpals was going to be that great. I think Tarpals is another three. And I use those three because he specifically mentioned Hell Week, and part of Hell Week is Conquest and GAC, or it's Conquest and Rise of the Empire that are stacked together.
Yeah.
Those Rise of the Empire Omicrons, and honestly the Cal lead as well, those are huge difference makers, and they turn fights into auto.
Which is huge.
It is. It is. And I would tell people to start looking more and more at Rise of the Empire Omicrons, just because they're used so frequently
Mm-hmm.
and they are massive time savers in those cases.
Yeah. 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 Because then you also are using it during TB when Conquest is not the week that
Yeah.
Conquest doesn't happen, but
Yep.
GAC starts up.
Yeah. One of, and again, I think we downplay some of these pieces, but one of the Jedi Knight Cal Kestis Omicrons in territory battles, um, it's the anti-stack mechanic. So, we've got the first 3 days where it's all the characters of 5 stacks. On Cal, anytime you kill a character, they don't revive.
Right.
So your 5 characters with 5, I've got to kill 25 characters in this wave. You're now down to 5. That's a huge time saver on that side.
Mm-hmm.
And again, he's this character you use over and over again. So I would say take a look in that direction more so than the it's fun, it's
Mm-hmm.
great, but I think there's better uses of 20 Omicron mats in those cases.
Yeah. I am gonna look at it some more. I think the thing that I really like about this Omicron for Conquest is all of these buffs and debuffs we see every single Conquest
Yes.
series. So I feel like you're in a safe zone. You're in a safer zone with it because you're going to be able to use it every single time.
Yep.
There's no way that CG is going to be like, oh, you don't have to do any buffs or debuffs this Conquest. Like, it's just not going to happen. So, next question.
Yes.
So it's from Fulcrum. With the GL Ahsoka news, learning and advancing in the Naboo raid, and new characters that were mentioned in the barely discernible forest path ahead. Great name. Or the announcement that happened in game where other characters were announced. In terms of Luthian, is he a one-off to give some help to Mon Mothma and or Saw, or could his ship be an Ahsoka requirement? Thinking Rebellion spy tie-in with Ahsoka Fulcrum days. I know it's left field at best.
So 100% his ship will not be an Ahsoka requirement.
I don't think his ship will be an Ahsoka requirement. I think the
Well,
ship
we,
requirement is her ship.
yeah, we've seen the shadows. His ship doesn't match a shadow.
Right. I do think his ship will be coming to the game, though.
Yes, I do too. But I don't think it's for another year.
So sad. I just want that animation in the game. I'll be so excited
Yeah.
for ships for like 2 minutes.
So I watched a clip of that scene the other day. As cool as the spinny move is, the thousands of little metal shards shot at the tractor beam dish was just as cool.
Man. Yes. 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 Yes to all of that. Yeah, I'm just still not excited for Luthen though. So I feel like he's just there, and I guess we'll see what he does. But it's different once we get the character and we actually like start playing with them and gear them and stuff. Obviously, like that changes things. But on paper, I'm not excited for him. I am much more excited about the potential of his ship coming to the game.
You know that there's going to be like a 100% chance that somehow he's able to kill 2 Galactic Legends on the same map in GAC. Like that, like because no one likes him, all of a sudden it's gonna be like, I don't know how, but I beat Leia and Jabba with this one character.
Yeah.
He made it through, and then he was still available, and I used him again. Like it's gonna end up that way.
Both teams just fell over.
Yeah, they just fell over. Yeah.
Okay. Good one. Do you think it is safe to start increasing relics on current fleets since there is not much indication of a new fleet meta this year?
I think it's always a good idea to increase relic levels, and on fleets, I think it makes a difference.
Yeah, I agree. I don't even think you necessarily need to start with where you think the next fleet meta would be. I think you can just start.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
I'll steal. Zareth has been talking about this forever. Don't do every fleet or every ship.
Right. Just key.
Start. Take your Plo Koon to Relic 8. Forget the raid for it. Plo Koon at Relic 8 opens up a ridiculous number of options with that fleet, that Galactic Republic fleet. Just do that.
Right.
Take your Cad Bane up.
Yeah. It's just like the select levers on the ships that you need.
Because and again, I think because fleets, we still have the fleet arena. So having that meta fleet matters a lot more.
Yeah.
There's still a huge piece of you need at least 6 fleets to be good at GAC right now, unless you skip fleets as much as possible like I do.
Me too.
Yeah. So you need more than one good one.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it creates problems for other people, and it makes things easier for you in that case.
And fleets are just a really smart area of the game to focus on because of Fleet Arena, like you said, and all that. It makes sense.
Yep.
I will say I find it absolutely hilarious, sidebar, that my Leviathan will be 7 stars before the fleet meta changes. Having done no refreshes.
You did everything possible to not let that happen, and it still happened.
I think I need 20 shards. Like it's just sitting there. So I'm not refreshing it. I'm not wasting my crystals because there's no point.
Yeah. Why not?
So I just find it amusing. Okay. Banja, please discuss. Guildmate managed to pull a 330 for Pow and a 330 for Morgan Elsbeth. How do I torture him sufficiently? I would like to know what is his Master Qui-Gon at, because I feel like you could just send a screenshot of how many shards he's missing for his Master Qui-Gon every day and be like, womp womp.
Force him to gift everyone in your guild a gamble pack, because
Yeah.
it's going to still be less than the number that it needed in that case in the first place.
He's still saving money somehow. Oh man, 330 for Pow and a 330 for Morgan. Like, that's really close. But I've never pulled a 330.
I have pulled one 330, and I pulled two 145s.
Man, I'm jealous.
And I have spun the gamble packs a lot of times.
Fair. Yeah. I am spinning them more now because of the marquee structure. But I will say, I've never pulled a 330, and I would like it to remain that way if the only option they were to give me one was if I pulled it on like the last pull.
Yeah.
Then I would just be livid. What was your 330 Pico? Mole Pokey's asking.
It was what is her name? The good Luthen.
The good Luthen.
Yeah, the exciting Luthen.
Mon Mothma?
Mon Mothma, thank you. Yeah, it was Mon Mothma.
I was like, who's a good Luthen? When you were doing, by the way, like this and trying to like, for some reason, I was like picturing like you putting like a headpiece on, and I was like, Visas?
What is he doing?
What?
Our new segment on like, look, you guys have to go in live because we're gonna sock puppet Star Wars characters.
Why not? Absolutely. Okay, so that's all the viewer questions. I didn't see any in chat. I think we've been answering them as we go.
Yeah.
There's no need for rank and file because you don't need a Leviathan. So let's head to Uncle Owen's Moisture Farm to talk about who and what we are currently farming in-game, because everyone knows work comes before going to Tashi Station to pick up power converters, unless you're like me and take 4 breaks. No one told my boss. She doesn't care.
It's a long way to get to that cold water.
Yeah. She came up, a sidebar, she came up to me the other day to ask a question, and I was sitting at my desk. I had my my work computer logged on. I had my edit suite computer logged on right beside me, and I had my work laptop logged on in front of me. So I've got like 5 monitors going. Work computer sitting there, edit suite computer sitting there, laptop is sitting there, and I'm watching trash reality TV while I am doing a 3D puzzle.
Yeah.
And like slurping on my iced coffee. And she's just asking questions, and I'm like, just doing this puzzle. Yeah. So I think taking 4 breaks is completely not unexpected. Anyway, what are you working on?
Relic levels. I mean, maybe Luthen gear. So as of this morning, all healers and all tanks in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes are at least Relic 8.
Wow. Okay.
So it's just attackers and support left. So here's actually Project 1989 is a colossal failure.
Poor Tay-Tay.
It is the final nail in the coffin happened this week when Morgan was released as a tank, and I just cannot afford the Relic 9 material to take all tanks released this calendar year to Relic 9.
What part of the material is it? Is it one thing in particular? Is it the aeromags?
It's the droid brains.
The droid brains.
The droid brains are the gap, because even if I don't take the Gungans to Relic 9, like my next Relic 9 character has to be Snips.
You're right. Yep.
And I probably need to have one in the bank just in case.
Yeah.
So
So when you get enough, sorry to interrupt you. When you get
yeah,
enough relic material to take another character to relic 9, are you just going to give it to Snips since she needs it anyway?
no, because I until we get the Balin requirements,
Ah, yes. And if we need
I
him to get her,
yes.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now I
Smart.
would be shocked to find out Balin has an R9 that he needs,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah, I
also
would
don't
too.
want to get caught with my pants down.
Yeah. No, that's actually very smart. Yeah, because if we need him, yeah, that would be yikes.
And technically, I even with picking up 10 this morning, um, and I'll pick up 5 in the weekly shipment,
Mm-hmm.
I still will be, I think, one short of a Relic 9.
Man.
So that's a whole nother week, that I've got to wait at that point. So um yeah, I just the Relic 9 and the raid really kind of threw a cramp in the entire plan. So
Right. Right. Yeah.
so that's it.
That's it. Um, I'm farming signal data, I guess. I don't really know. They're all of the characters that are farmable are done. Um, so I guess it's just a matter of like I should actually. I haven't looked at Jar Jar's gear, and I will need his gear in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So I should probably do that.
So what are you getting as a raid score for the Gungans right now?
I mean, I didn't post yet today, but I was getting anywhere between 2.5 to 2.7. Like I was maxing at the relegate tier.
So really,
Jar Jar's
Jar Jar doesn't do much for you.
he's not gonna do much for me. If like I'm not really in a rush to gear him because the Gungans are working in the raid when the raid isn't being a piece of shit.
And I don't think the Gungans have turned out to be the PvP destroyers that everyone thought that they were going to be.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna be super upset if I have to like slow play
Yeah.
his gear and his relicking. I'm more focused on getting Queenie to relic 9 next than I
Yeah.
am on getting Jar Jar geared whenever I unlock him.
The Gungans are really starting to feel like a really just solid B plus.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, which is fine.
Yeah.
Like I feel like in between GLs and lifter units and hero's journey and all that kind of stuff, like you there's gonna be teams that are just a B squad.
Um, I think that because the last time we got a release that looked like the Gungans, it was the Inquisitors. I think that
Hmm.
people really wanted them to be the Inquisitors.
Right. And the Inquisitors
Uh,
are still very good.
so good.
They're
They're
so
so
good.
good.
So
They're
I know
insane.
people are so sick of them, of like hearing about Inquisitors, but I'm like, they are fantastic.
Yeah. It's funny. I was actually thinking about the Inquisitors release the other day. I was walking, and I took a different path around the neighborhood. And as I was coming past a spot, I was like, that was where I was listening to HNN as they were talking about the Seventh Sister release.
Mm.
And I'm like, oh wow, they have been around so long that I was listening to the show. I wasn't on the
You
show
are
talking
on the
about
show.
it.
That's a weird thing. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Um, yeah, yeah. So I'm not surprised that they're B
Yeah.
squad though. Other than that, like I just don't know. I think you're right. Not I was looking at the Ahsoka requirements and if I should take Snips to Relic 9 after I'm like done with the raid relics and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Um, because it is the blue signal data that's throttling me right now.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think I will wait for her. Otherwise, I guess I'll just see what other marquees we get. Maybe we're gonna get. I think we're due for a chase, a galactic chase, a ship.
I hope so. I'd like to see something different. It, again, this is not even a first world problem. I'm really interested to see what happens when I have the roster at Relic 8
Hmm.
and I don't have resources to take characters to Relic 9. Like how quickly all that stuff starts to pile up
Hmm.
when you're in a situation like I really can only bring a character up like once a month.
Oh, okay. Then like I would think you would eventually get to a point where it just starts accumulating again, though.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just gonna be interesting to kind of see what like do I wake up in March of next year and it's like, oh wow, I'm sitting on 10,000 blue signal data. Maybe I don't need to spend any crystals on Cantina energy anymore.
Right. Oh. Oh.
But then I
I don't.
still have to get my 600. So where do I spend where do you
Yeah.
spend it? So
Um. Okay, Vaughn. When does everyone think we are going to get the next puzzle? He's guessing next weekend. I hope it's not next weekend. That's the long weekend.
well, so we're supposed to get we're due for another character release next week.
Are we?
It, we've been I mean it's we got Morgan last week. We're typically every other week.
Right.
So is it going to be a good puzzle or is it going to be the puzzle that we were asking whether we even had one or not?
Is it going to be memorable?
Yeah, yeah,
Um, if it's next week, I would like it to be a fast puzzle because
yeah.
it's the weekend.
Is the clue bad father?
Bad father. Uh, um, oh, Dar, this is actually a good question. But I don't know when we'll get the next puzzle, and I don't know if we'll get a puzzle for every marquee. I guess maybe we would. Dar, why do you think CG changed the data type used for currency? I.e., like the max currency we can have now
Oh,
is ridiculous.
um, I think it's more because in the back end they're converting some things to 64-bit numbers to take advantage of the PC client, as opposed to
Ah,
any other nefarious reason.
that's a good reason. I like that reason.
Yeah,
I don't think I've talked to Dar about this. I don't think it's level 90. Everyone keeps talking about level 90.
I don't think so either.
It just
Um,
doesn't logically like make sense in terms of how things would work in game.
to me, I think it makes less sense when you consider the the maximum currency number is only using 63 of the 64 bits.
That is weird.
And which to me says they just changing some numbers and they flipped it to a certain point and that's where they turned it off at. So um yeah, I don't think we're getting relic 90 or level 90.
Yeah, I don't think we are either. I just think they're doing. I like your reasoning, PC client. That's a good reason.
Yep.
So Dar's gonna keep
Dar
his
keeping a
credits.
half a billion credits for that. More power to you if you can hold on to a half a billion credits just for a rainy day fund.
I wish I could hold on to have $1 billion. Um, yeah, like it. So this is the thing with the level 90, and I was trying. I was explaining this to Dar. My viewpoint on it is: do you
Yep.
remember when Hux was released? And Hux was the only character that you could take to gear 12 when he wasn't 7 stars. And it was
Yeah.
because there was something broken in his code and they didn't fix it and it was a whole thing. And I think he is still like that. Like I think you can
Yeah.
still take Hux to gear 12 having not been 7 stars. Correct me if I'm wrong because it's been a long time since I've had to do this. To go to 7 stars, you need to be level 85 for a character. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I might be making this up, but I feel like you have to be level 85 to promote to 7 stars.
You do not because you can pull a 330 on on your first gamble pack, and
Right.
you can character all directly all the way up there.
Right. Okay. Um, but I still like just in terms of how everything would work, like what would be the stepping stone before you could go to say level 86? What would be the thing that you would have to be at? Would it just be that it's level 85, it doesn't matter what the relic level is, or is it that you need to be at relic 8 or you need to be at relic 5 or
So I don't think that you can gate the level beyond anything else because
I think it would break things.
I think I don't know this, but when you as you level up a character, it's not a linear progression, at least up after 80. I think the difference between the increase from level 79 to 80, because it was 80 was the previous cap, and then they raised it to 85, correct?
Yeah, I don't remember when they raised it. It's been forever that it's been
Yeah.
85.
But the step from 79 to 80
Mhm.
is significantly less than the step between 80 and 81.
Mhm.
So it's if the line doesn't go, it's not this, it's this.
Right.
So the issue is what breaks in the roster when there are 300 potential characters to take up to level 90, and what happens when somebody finds out that Cup at level 90 has this weird power spike that makes him unbeatable
Right.
for lower level characters. Like don't even take like the high end rosters, but
Right.
what does that break in the mid tier game or the low tier game by doing that spike, that all of a sudden a team of 5 characters
Can't get
can't
through.
can't get through it because of that. Um, and because it will just take significant amount of time
Mhm.
to move through. It's either going to be it takes a significant amount of time to move 300 characters through the ranks, or the the cost to bring a character from 85 to 90, we'll say that's the step, is so low that people can just bring the entire roster there. And at that point,
What's the point?
just pull the currency out of the game. Like
Yeah.
that's all that. Um, so I don't I think the potential for screwing the lower half of the player base is significantly worse than the upper half of the player base.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I just don't see it going off without problems. I think it would create way I remember way back before Vader got his rework where he has his merciless massacre and all that fun stuff and he's just badass. Way before that. Um One of the devs did an interview and I can't remember if it was on a podcast or if it was typed up in the forums. It doesn't matter, but I remember them distinctly talking about reworks and coding in the game. And basically, they were talking about the spaghetti code and how, like,
Yeah,
one thing affects another thing. And they were talking about explicitly about Darth Vader and that the way he was coded was so convoluted, nobody actually wanted to touch his kit because it would break
yeah,
other aspects of the game. And I feel like that's what
yeah.
would happen here.
Yeah, so Dar said the cost per level stayed consistent from 80 to 85. I'm not, the way that I'm talking about this is not the concept of the cost from 80 to 85.
Yeah,
It's
the
the
power
power
spike.
increase of characters that happen at that point. Um, it's right now a team of there is zero chance in hell a team of level 80 characters
Mhm.
is beating a team with level 85 characters.
Right.
It's just not going to happen. So that same problem will exist if we do the 85 to 90.
Right.
And I think that breaks too many issues when that happens.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a whole bunch of potential areas for problems in general. Never mind when they start reworking things and
Yeah.
recoding and all this fun stuff. Okay. Any other thoughts?
I don't.
Nothing. We did it, considering we
We
had
did it.
only one kit. I guess that's it then, and then maybe we'll have another kit next time.
Maybe.
Maybe in 2 weeks from now.
No, we are on a very our schedule is really off right now because we've been missing weeks and then CG's release cycle. Like there's a good chance we're getting a kit in 7 days.
I know, and we'll be behind. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll fix things, or CG will fix things for us.
Or,
Maybe,
or try.
or try. Okay. So, thanks, Pico, for making this work from your, what was it, Embassy Hotel?
The Embassy Suites on 600 State Street in Chicago, Illinois. A wonderful, wonderful hotel. Just not during vacation time.
Yeah.
Breakfast is great. Staff's phenomenal. And again, an amazing Italian restaurant next door. If you're in Chicago, just tell the Uber driver to take you to the Embassy Suites at 600 North State Street. It's in the lobby. It's got a street right there. Going to the Italian restaurant. They've got these phenomenal, like, they call them Roman style pizzas, but they're like the cracker thin ones on there. They're phenomenal. You got to get after it. It's great.
I just want Italian food.
They had a good menu for that. I was afraid if I had too much pasta tonight, I would actually be sleeping through the episode. So I went with the pizza.
There's no such thing as too much pasta. No. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this week. That ought to do it. And until next time, Chewy, we're home. And for those watching the stream, I'm going to stop the recording.
Recording stopped.
And then, full of sweet, sweet gluten. That is so true. I will say, while we're on the stream, and then I'll end it, I ate like a king in Italy. They were phenomenal for gluten-free food. It was fantastic. Like, I wasn't even scared.
When your entire way of eating is based around gluten foods, and then you find out like we could either learn to cook differently or just use different ingredients. Like, yeah, I'm just going to use different ingredients. I don't want to learn how to cook differently.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, oh man, it was so good. Anyway, that's it. I'm gonna go have a snack, I think. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out on the stream. Enjoy your hotel stay.
I'll be home in, I don't know,